Imagine you are the world's greatest superhero. You fought alongside the Avengers, looked Thanos in the eye, and literally saved the multiverse. But today none of that matters. Today the woman who raised you, Aunt May, is clinging to life on a hospital ventilator. And the most brutal part? The bullet that's killing her was meant for you. An assassin targeted the spider but hit the person he loved most. What do? Do you fall to your knees and pray? Or do you march straight to the gates of hell and bargain with the devil himself? Guilt is a dangerous thing. It blinds you. And Peter Parker's entire existence is built on a foundation of guilt. He couldn't save Uncle Ben, and he refuses to let Aunt May slip away. Enter Mephisto, Marvel's literal embodiment of Satan, a cosmic predator who smells desperation from a mile away. But Mephisto doesn't want Peter's life, nor does he want his powers. Instead, he demands something far more twisted. He says, "Give me your marriage. Give me your sacred pure love with Mary Jane. I will rewrite history so you two never happened, and in return, your aunt lives." Mephisto didn't care about destroying Spider-Man physically. He wanted to corrupt his very soul, to tear down the purest symbol of love in the Marvel Universe just to spite God. In their final, heartbreaking moments, Peter and MJ hold each other close, weeping. MJ leans in and whispers into his ear, "We'll find each other again." And just like that, a blinding white light consumes everything. When the light fades, morning sun hits Peter's face. He wakes up in his childhood bedroom. Everything looks normal. Aunt May is in the kitchen, healthy, alive, and making breakfast. Peter is ecstatic. But the moment he steps outside, reality hits him like a freight train. The entire world has forgotten his secret identity. His tech is gone. And the ultimate crushing blow. Mary Jane looks right through him like he's a total stranger. Peter Parker got his aunt back. New York got its Spider-Man back. But the price of this brand new day was Peter's entire identity. The devil's bargain worked. Aunt May was alive, well, and smiling. For Peter, it felt like waking up from a nightmare. But in the Marvel Universe, when everything looks too perfect, it usually means a storm is brewing just beneath the surface. Peter was about to realize that the brighter the sun shines on this brand new day, the darker the shadows truly are. Peter returns to his old apartment, looking for a trace of his old life. He checks his phone. Mary Jane's number isn't there. He checks the news. There is absolutely no record of their wedding. In this new timeline, they were never husband and wife. They were just two exes who had a standard, messy breakup years ago. Even the moment he unmasked during the Civil War has been wiped clean from humanity's collective memory. Nobody knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man. With no backing from Stark Industries, he is once again a broke, struggling kid forced to sleep on his aunt's couch. Walking through the streets of Manhattan, Peter stops dead in his tracks. Standing right in front of him is Harry Osborn. Now, according to Marvel history, Harry died a tragic death. But in this altered timeline, Harry is not only alive and kicking, he's back from Europe and acting like Peter's absolute best friend. Think about the psychological horror of that for a second. If Mephisto only erased the marriage, how is Harry Osborn alive? History itself has been tampered with. Peter is relieved to see his friend, but a terrifying question haunts him. If Harry is back, does that mean Norman Osborn is back too? That night, Peter slips into his classic suit and swings into the New York skyline. But the city doesn't welcome its hero. The NYPD opens fire on him. Under the city's new laws, Spider-Man isn't a savior anymore. He's an unregistered vigilante. A criminal. Peter Parker had his family and his best friend back, but he had lost his love and his legacy. He was right back where he started. But as he swung through the cold night air, he had no idea that a new shadow was stepping into the alleys of New York. A villain who was a savior by day and a living nightmare by night. Up until now, Spider-Man was used to fighting colorful, larger-than-life supervillains who wanted to blow up the city. But in this new era, the rules have changed. With the Kingpin behind bars, a massive power vacuum has opened up in the New York underworld. There is no single godfather running the show anymore. Instead, ruthless street-level gangs have carved up the boroughs. And Peter was about to find out that these new threats weren't just powerful. They were clinically psychopathic. In a grim, rainy alley, a petty junkie named Freak is running from the cops. He trips and crashes into an illegal stockpile of biochemical waste. His body begins to mutate violently, twisting into a grotesque monster. Freak isn't a mastermind. He's an addict driven by pure instinct. But his power is terrifying. Whatever kills him, his body adapts to it, making him completely immune and twice as strong the next time he wakes up. It's a terrifying realization for Spider-Man. Every time he beats Freak, he is literally engineering a more unstoppable monster. At the same time, a terrifying silhouette cuts through the midnight sky. It flies on a goblin glider, but this isn't the Green Goblin. This creature is gray, demonic, and leaves a trail of ash in its wake. They call it Menace. Menace is using Norman Osborn's old stash of weapons and pumpkin bombs, systematically targeting high-profile politicians and rigging the upcoming mayoral election. The rumors on the street are deafening. Is Harry Osborn secretly under the mask? The timing of his return is just too perfect. Then the scene shifts to the clean, brightly lit kitchen of the shelter. Aunt May is smiling, volunteering, and serving food to the homeless. Standing right beside her is a charming, wealthy billionaire philanthropist, Martin Lee. Peter meets him, and Lee treats him with incredible warmth, even offering him a job. Peter is relieved that there are still good people looking out for his aunt. But as Peter turns to leave, the camera catches Martin Lee's face. The lighting shifts, and his shadow takes on a distorted, inverted shape. Peter had no idea that the city's greatest saint was actually the mastermind behind New York's most ruthless criminal syndicate. To the public, Martin Lee is a savior. A billionaire who uses his wealth to heal the broken pieces of New York. But psychology tells us that the brighter a person shines on the outside, the darker the monster they hide within. In Martin Lee's case, that darkness wasn't just a metaphor, it was a literal, terrifying reality. Lee suffers from a severe, mystical split personality. He has no idea what happens when his darker half takes control. Deep inside a dark boardroom, Martin Lee's body begins to convulse. His skin loses its color, shifting into a living photographic negative. His eyes glow with a piercing white light, and a corrupted aura of dark force energy radiates from his body. He becomes Mr. Negative. His power is terrifyingly simple. With a single touch, he can drain the morality out of any human being, corrupting their soul and turning them into fanatical, brainwashed soldiers known as the Inner Demons. A brutal gang war erupts in Chinatown as the Inner Demons launch an assault on the old Italian mafia. They wield swords charged with Negative's dark energy. Spider-Man swings in to break up the chaos, but he's immediately overwhelmed. These aren't normal mobsters. Their weapons are tearing into his very life force. Suddenly, Mr. Negative steps onto the battlefield himself. A highly stylized, slow-motion clash ensues. Negative lunges, trying to touch Spider-Man, and Peter escapes by a fraction of a second as his Spider-Sense screams in absolute panic. After the dust settles, Mr. Negative vanishes. Peter rushes back to the shelter as a civilian, his heart pounding. When he walks in, he finds Martin Lee sitting calmly with Aunt May, drinking tea like nothing happened. Peter doesn't know Lee is the monster he just fought, but the moment he steps close, his Spider-Sense goes into overdrive, ringing like a fire alarm. Peter was trapped in a psychological cage. His worst enemy was his aunt's boss. But before Peter could even begin to untangle this mind game, his personal life was about to be struck by an emotional hurricane that would tear his heart out all over again. They say the greatest pain isn't losing someone you love. It's standing right in front of them, looking into their eyes, and realizing they have absolutely no memory of what you used to be to them. Peter saved Aunt May's life, but the cost was the absolute destruction of his history with Mary Jane Watson. Peter sits alone in his cramped room, staring out at the pouring rain. He looks down at his hands, at the faint, ghostly indentation on his ring finger where his wedding band used to sit, a phantom limb of a life that Mephisto stole. Later that week, Peter is assignment, bound at a high-end red carpet gala, working as a freelance photographer for the Daily Bugle. The crowd parts and his lens focuses on a breathtakingly familiar face, Mary Jane. Peter's heart stops. He walks toward her, a desperate hope flaring up in his chest that maybe, just maybe, love can break the spell. But when MJ looks at him, there is no spark, no history. She gives him a polite, distant smile and says, "Oh, hey Peter. What are you doing here?" The devil's magic didn't make her hate him. It did something worse. It flattened their grand romance into a forgettable chapter of the past. To her, they were just two people who dated in college and had an amicable breakup. Before Peter can even process the grief, a handsome, wealthy movie star named Bobby Carr walks up, wrapping his arm around MJ's waist. He's her new boyfriend. Peter is forced to stand there, watching the love of his life laugh with another man. And the tragedy is he can never tell her the truth. If he breaks the rules of the bargain, Aunt May's timeline resets and she dies. He is trapped in an emotional prison. Peter flees the party, scaling the highest rooftop in the city. He tears off his mask and screams into the rain. When he puts the mask back on, he swings into the darkness with a frantic, desperate fury, not to save the city, but to run away from his own breaking heart. When life strips away your grandest love, the universe has a way of introducing new variables to fill the void. Enter Carly Cooper, a brilliant, sharp-witted forensic expert for the NYPD. Carly isn't like the other people in Peter's life. Her mind works like a forensic computer, and she treats superhero battles like crime scenes waiting to be scientifically decoded. When Peter meets her through work, her grounded, no-nonsense personality gives him a strange sense of peace. Meanwhile, across town in an upscale lounge, Peter is sharing a drink with Harry Osborn. Harry is alive, but the brotherhood is fractured by dramatic irony. Harry doesn't see Peter as the man who fought his father. He sees him as his old college roommate. Harry has no memory of ever being the Goblin, nor does he know Peter's secret. Peter smiles and laughs, but inside he is terrified. If Harry ever recovers his memories, will the monster awaken? The tension ratchets up when Carly Cooper brings Peter into her forensic lab. On her table are the mangled pieces of a glider and pumpkin bomb shrapnel recovered from Menace's latest attack. Carly points to the serial numbers, revealing that these high-tech weapons are being traced directly back to old, sealed Oscorp vaults. Peter's heart sinks. His suspicion immediately locks onto Harry. Is his best friend lying to him? Is Harry moonlighting as a demonic terrorist? The psychological pressure peaks when Peter, out on patrol as Spider-Man, hears police sirens echoing below. He looks down to see Carly Cooper leading a tactical squad, holding an arrest warrant with his name on it. The city's anti-vigilante laws have gone live. The one girl Peter was finally starting to trust in his civilian life was now spearheading the hunt to lock him away in a federal prison. Think about the man who spent years tarnishing your name in the headlines, branding you a menace to society. Now, imagine that same man gets handed the keys to the entire city. Jonah Jameson is no longer just a loudmouth newspaper editor. He is now the frontrunner to become the mayor of New York. And his entire political platform is built on one promise: putting Spider-Man in a cage. Jameson has weaponized the fear gripping the city. He goes on every news network, spinning a dangerous narrative, that the rise of psycho villains like Freak and Mr. Negative is a direct consequence of Spider-Man's lawless existence. The moment he takes office, Mayor Jameson converts the NYPD into a specialized superhero task force. Their sole mandate? Hunt the Spider. The police deploy high-tech drones and reverse-engineered Spider trackers, using Peter's own invention against him. Spider-Man is forced to navigate a hostile city, spending more time dodging police snipers than stopping actual crimes. The public that used to cheer for him now pulls out their phones to report his coordinates to the authorities. When Peter walks into the newly corporate Daily Bugle office, things get even worse. Jameson's new ruthless editor-in-chief takes Peter's latest freelance photos of Spider-Man and throws them straight into the shredder. Under the new administration's corporate policy, the Bugle will no longer buy any photography that portrays the vigilante as a hero. Peter's primary source of income is completely choked off. He can't pay his rent. He's skipping meals. One night, Spider-Man drops into a dark alley and finds a dead body. As he kneels down to check for a pulse, blinding spotlights flood the alley. Police sirens wail, cameras flash, and the morning news anchors break the story across the nation. Spider-Man caught red-handed in a brutal murder. Jameson's trap had snapped shut. Spider-Man was no longer just a rogue hero. He was a wanted killer on the run. In the darkest corners of the Marvel Universe, the name Venom inspires absolute terror. But Eddie Brock, the symbiote's original host, was far from a monster now. He was a dying man. Emaciated and riddled with terminal cancer, Eddie sat in a church-run shelter, praying for forgiveness for his past sins. That's when Martin Lee crosses his path. Lee places a hand on Eddie's shoulder, and his mysterious dark force energy surges into Eddie's bloodstream. The light, dark energy triggers a violent mutation, reacting with the dormant, corrupted cells of the Venom symbiote left in Eddie's DNA. Eddie Brock's cancer is completely cured, but his biology is rewritten. Later that night, as a desperate Spider-Man is evading police drones, a massive, predatory silhouette drops from the shadows, blindsiding him. It looks like Venom, but the color palette is inverted. It is a brilliant, blinding white with a pitch-black spider emblem burned into its chest. This is Anti-Venom. And unlike the original symbiote, Anti-Venom is completely immune to fire and sonic frequencies. A brutal, bone-crushing brawl erupts across the rooftops of Manhattan. Anti-Venom clamps his jaws onto Spider-Man. But here is the twisted part. Eddie Brock doesn't want to kill Peter. He wants to cure him. Anti-Venom's biology interprets the radioactive spider blood in Peter's veins as a disease. The white symbiote begins to physically purge the radiation from Peter's body, burning his DNA. Peter feels his powers draining away. His ability to stick to walls flickers out, and his super strength plummets. He is losing his identity all over again. The fight is cut short when Mr. Negative's inner demons ambush the rooftop, attempting to capture Anti-Venom for their own twisted experiments. Peter manages to drag his broken body away into the shadows, but he is left heavily weakened, his powers fractured, and an existential dread setting in.